Opinion Nation, would a 4-day work week work in America? Of course it would. That's why it will never, ever happen. Even though study after study says we would be far more productive. At least they pay attention to the studies in New Zealand. The CEO at a company called Perpetual Guardian decided to give it a go. Here he is telling his employees.
So we've decided to try something reasonably radical. You will be working 4 days a week, and you will be paid for 5. This is not about... Hey, it sounds great, doesn't it?
They did not believe him. That means his 240 employees would work 32 hours a week instead of 40 and get paid for 5 days a week. Can you say sublime? Even better. It worked. Team engagement increased by 20%. There was zero decrease in productivity. Opinion Nation, would a 4-day work week work in America? Let's talk. Joining me now, radio host and political commentator Ben Kissel, Rolanda Watts, host of Rolanda On Demand, and Americus Reed, professor of marketing at the University of Pennsylvania's Wharton School. Welcome to all of you. Rolanda, I want to start with you because the reaction from those employees was priceless. They thought he was joking.
I'm sure, but I'm sure they're saying, hey, boss, more appreciation of my time, more concentration on your dime. Because, you know, the truth is that these tests have proven that there is less stress, that the workers tend to put in more time when they're there. They're more productive. They take less time on their breaks, that the stress level goes down, that it's great for working parents. I agree with this. I think it's a great idea because so much stress on the job is also proven to lead to weight gain, to illness, injury, even death in some cases. And I'm all for giving an extra day off. I say go for the 4-day work week.
I am on the fence, but Americus, I'll go with you. If it's as great as Rolanda describes, why aren't more companies in America doing it?
Well, I think it's interesting, Carol, because there is kind of a pressure that employees face. The more success that you want to have, the more things that you want to achieve, you have to work more. And so people understand that. So, you know, in this particular society, in this country's kind of work ethic approach to calibrating the effort that you're going to put in, it's a little bit different because perhaps over in other European cultures, there might be a different kind of perception. But here, a very individualistic culture, people understand that you got to work very hard. And I'm not disregarding the results of the study, but they are self-reported effects of stress and self-reported perceived engagement. There aren't any studies that I'm aware of that actually show an increase in performance around these sorts of shorter work weeks.
Yeah, I think it was like a zero net gain. There wasn't a decrease in productivity. It's just employees were happier because they had more time. But Ben, just speaking from my own perspective,
right.
If I worked a 4-day work week, it would stress me out more because I would be wondering, I got to get stuff done. Like, who's going to do it? Like, I have to be at work. What are they doing? Are they noticing my absence?
But, Carol, we also live in a world where there's so much more to do than just work. Social media is a big deal today. That is also helping perpetuate work. I think what I would do if I took that extra day is take care of those things like emptying my email, answering my social media, all those things that would help me be more productive when I went back to work.
I wouldn't spend too much time answering your social media. That's never a great stress-free experience, at least in my experience with it. I would say, I just have a caveat to everything I'm about to say. We don't want a country that forces people to take days off, like as we saw in France with that baker who wanted to he went to work every single day, 7 days a week because it was tourist season, and he was fined almost $4,000. That's not the way to go about this either. But at the same time, America is the definition of overworked and underpaid. I know a lot of folks who work these desk jobs and, you know, they're treated like James Caan in the movie Misery, tethered to their desk, forced to work, and they're cobbled on a regular basis when their manager throws a bunch of busy work on their desk so they can't leave until 7 p.m. So we have a country where over 80% of men and over 60% of women work more than 40 hours per week, and I definitely think we can have a more reasonable approach to the workplace.
But America's... I think that it's ingrained in us. It's, you know, I'm part of Generation X, baby. I'm right on the line there. But it's ingrained in me to work hard. And if I want more stuff for myself and my family, I just have to work harder. It would be really difficult for me to pull back and say, I'm just going to like loaf like on Fridays.
But you know, a lot of people have side jobs now with Uber or Lyft, or maybe they're selling some things on Etsy. So an extra day off could give them some opportunity to explore their more artistic sides or whatever entrepreneurial things that they might have when it comes to aspirations and things like that.
That's right. You laugh at me about that social media, but you cannot deny that many of these social media platforms are only things that are going to promote your business in many ways.
No, that is true, yes.
And also, we live in a society where there is so much going on, from what's happening in the White House to what's happening at the border, that there's so much to talk about. I think we spend a lot of time at work talking. So maybe to get that out on that extra day might help us concentrate more on our work today. We are talking society today. Everybody's got an opinion and a debate.
So that's an interesting,
I like that. Gossip Fridays. I like that.
Gossip Fridays, yeah.
Right.
So America's, is that true? Like if you work 5 days a week, it's like 20% of your time taken up like doing a whole lot of nothing. And if you only worked 4 days a week, those 4 days would be much more productive because you know that you have to get stuff done in a shorter period of time.
Yeah, I think if we put it into the research context and we think a little bit about this idea of how do people form a sense of their work identity, there's at least 4 things they think about. They think about effort that they have to put in to achieve a goal. They think about reflection in terms of is this personally meaningful for me, the work that I'm doing? They think about appraisal and feedback from others, and they think about fusion. Does that job I do actually, is it self-reflective? Is it meaningful? Does it fuel my soul? And so I think people often think that in their minds, you know, I'd love to have a work balance, but when the rubber hits the road and you actually have to start doing it, it's a little bit harder to do because you recognize that if I'm working less, you know, someone else who wants something that I want, it's the same thing I'm trying to get, is going to be working harder. And so to your point, Carol, I think there is that pressure there that you feel like I don't want to take my foot off the gas because I want to keep moving this thing forward and achieve the type of success that I think I can achieve by putting in the type of time that I need to put in.
Okay, so I'll just ask a final question of all of you with short answers. So will there come a day in America where, let's say, 80% of businesses say, hey, we're going to do a 4-day work week? Ben?
Depending on the business, I think if it's, you know, as a television producer in 2016, you got to do a show every day, so it doesn't really work there. But yeah, absolutely. If you're in a tech firm or something like that, why not?
Rolanda?
Well, I think that we are examining new ways to do business. And, you know, like I said, with the internet, there are new ways to do business. And I think that, yes, I think many companies will start adopting them.
Americans?
Yeah, I think it can work with lower sort of paying jobs that don't have extremely time-sensitive kinds of deliverables that you have to produce. But for the higher upper echelon of folks that are really, you know, making 6-figure salaries, you got to work, man. The day doesn't stop at 4:59 p.m. on Friday.
No. This is, I'm with you because I think I've worked, what, 13 Christmases out of the last 20 years. So yeah, and I'm bitter a little bit. But it's good. I love my job.
Well, as long as your bonus isn't the Jelly of the Month Club, that'll be good.
Yeah. I'm going to talk to my boss. Ben Kissel, America's Reed, Rolanda Watts. Thanks to all of you.